Look closely at Steph Curry here. First, he gets sandwiched between two defenders, both who are making contact and holding on to him. Then, as he breaks free, his primary defender wraps him up with both arms, literally bear hugging him. But still, nothing is called. What makes this moment even more outrageous is that this referee has a clear line of sight to the entire play, but chooses not to blow his whistle. Then, even after that, the contact doesn't stop. The defender still continues grabbing Steph with two hands as the play unfolds. According to the NBA's own rulebook, this is textbook illegal contact. But yet, Stephen Curry, at 37 years old, is still being harassed this way, possession after possession on live television, with referees and league officials watching in real time.
Embarrassing. He got grabbed a few times. Watch him get grabbed. Fouled there. Definitely fouled there. Devin Booker was fouled there. I mean, it's unbelievable. What are you looking at?
The question today isn't whether these are legitimate fouls. The real questions are, why is Steph Curry still being guarded like this at age 37? Why is this level of contact tolerated by the league? And what does this really reveal about the Warriors superstar? Every time I watch the Warriors now, there's only one question I ask. How many defenders are going to grab, hold, and maul Steph today?
The referees just kind of let it slide, right? The grabbing, the holding, jumping under him when he shoot. Like, people do whatever they can.
You don't even have to slow the game down. Just watch a few minutes of any Warriors possession, and it's obvious. For some reason, defenders are so terrified of a 37-year-old 6'2" point guard that they feel they need to use illegal contact just to keep him in check. Steph is 37, almost 38, basically a senior citizen in the NBA world. He's currently the 9th oldest player in the league, and the man also has weak ankles. But yet, NBA teams still fear him to the point that they gotta resort to stuff like this. What makes everything even more frustrating is that Steph almost never gets the whistle for these types of contact, even though, by the rule book, it's clearly a foul. I've been watching the NBA for over 2 decades now, and I genuinely can't think of another player who gets held down this much without getting calls.
Steph Curry's rate of being fouled off the ball is mind-numbingly ridiculous.
People like to say the reason Steph doesn't get the whistle is because he's a three-point shooter, or that you gotta drive to get the whistle. But that doesn't even begin to explain things, because I'm talking about the contact that happens off the ball.
Off. Which is the one that you feel like gets missed?
Off the ball.
Like, look at these. Ridiculous. This is supposed to be basketball. This is supposed to be the NBA. So what the fuck is going on? Other superstars don't get treated like this. Like, no one is constantly grabbing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or Luka Doncic either. One of the most dangerous offensive players in the league. No one is grabbing him. When Kyrie and Dame time were healthy, no one was grabbing those two either. So that brings us back to the question. Why does Steph Curry, at 37 years old, with weak ankles and only 6'2", have to be physically harassed like this?
And there is nobody in this league who gets a worse call than Steph Curry every single time I look up.
When you think of the name Steph Curry, what comes to your mind? The greatest shooter the basketball world has ever seen, right? I mean, the man literally changed basketball because of his ability to basically score from anywhere on the court. But honestly, that really sells him short and doesn't even begin to explain why he's the greatest point guard of all time. And here's what I mean. First off, Steph is the ultimate professional. The man is constantly working to get better in every facet of his game, not just shooting.
They fear Steph just as much off the ball, if not more, than they do on the ball.
Steph might not be the biggest player in the league or the strongest, but his work ethic is second to nobody. And that's exactly why young defenders in today's NBA are still forced to grab onto him like their survival depends on it. You see, Back in Steph's prime, he was running about 2.5 miles per game. And when he was doing this in the NBA Finals, for example, he put Matthew Dellavedova into the hospital. Yeah, he literally put another NBA player into the hospital because of his off-the-ball movement.
Delly almost died guarding Steph Curry. No, literally almost died. We have footage of this man in an ice tub, like literally.
Delly was no scrub or anything on defense either. The man was 25 years old at the time, a top-tier athlete, young, strong, but after trying to guard and keep up with the prime Steph, who was running 2.5 miles per game, the man needed an IV just to recover. And here's the scary truth. Steph is still running that same 2.5 miles every game today.
All he needs is a half an inch to get the shot off, and it's a great look. So
Right.
they just grab and hold him. And he just keep moving, and they just grab him and hold him and hold him.
Sure, he's not quite as fast as he used to be, but his understanding of angles, his decision-making speed, and his basketball IQ have only gotten better. And his endurance? It's just as good, if not even better, than he was when he was in his 2016 prime. So the fact that Steph is the ultimate professional who works on his craft to the full extent of his abilities is exactly why defenders still have to grab, hold, and cling onto him. I mean, otherwise, the game basically becomes a shooting drill for the world's greatest shooter. So then the question becomes, why does the league allow this? I mean, make no mistake, the top NBA officials know what's going on. Steve Kerr, the Warriors head coach, regularly sends video clips to the league office documenting this blasphemy. Other Warriors players have questioned referees about this as well. There's been endless speculation about this online, but without diving too deep into the rabbit hole, just take a look here. For 2026, these are the stats of a prime 27-year-old SGA when he gets at least 10 free throws in a game. Now, look at Steph.
I want him to average 10 free throws a game just because he does get fouled a lot.
At 37 years old, when he gets 10 or more free throws in a game, this is how much he scores. Now, this is absolutely insane. Because the reality is, when a player gets the benefit of the whistle, everything opens up for them. It's not just the points from free throws that matter. It's the space defenders are forced to give them, which creates cleaner looks, better shot quality, and higher efficiency overall. So it's not even an exaggeration to say that if the league gave Steph Curry even half the whistles he deserves, he'd be scoring at least 37 points per game. And with the extra space that comes with those calls, he'd likely be averaging over 40 at age 37. 40 points, maybe even 45 at age 37. Think about all the storylines that would come if the NBA allowed that to happen. I mean, at that point, Steph would clearly be the undisputed greatest offensive weapon in modern NBA history. And then you have to think about Golden State. Imagine how many more championships they might have won if Steph had gotten a fair whistle. Imagine what that would do to the entire NBA narrative. But anyway, that's a rabbit hole I'm not going down today. Because another big reason Steph doesn't get the whistle is he's not a cheater of the game.
But we reward flopping and flailing in this league, and Steph does neither.
A lot of NBA players today, for some reason, complain to the refs 24/7. In addition, they exaggerate contact, they flop, and honestly, this is so baked into the game today that it feels like it's just how the league works now. But Steph doesn't like to play like that. He doesn't like to whine to the refs, he doesn't like to sell calls, and he certainly doesn't like to flop. Instead, he just goes out there and scores his points the ethical way, which is kind of sad. I mean, why would the NBA make an environment where players have to cheat to get ahead?
I think in this league, we reward flopping.
But anyway, this all leads to the bigger question. What does this actually say about the Warriors superstar? Well, honestly, this is the reason many people say Steph is closer to Jordan and Kobe than LeBron. Because just like those two legends, Steph is a killer who has never really needed gimmicks to dominate. Now, this isn't to say LeBron isn't great or that he doesn't have a bag, but we've all seen him use theatrics to get calls, and his flops have been caught on camera more times than anyone can count. And honestly, it's hard to watch sometimes. This is the so-called chosen one, arguably the greatest of all time, or at least second only to Michael, and yet, here we are. And yeah, I get it, players have to sell contact in today's NBA to get whistles, but man, does it look cringe or what? Anyway, at the end of the day, real GOATs don't operate like this. And that says a lot about Steph and the kind of competitor he is. He wants to win just as badly as anyone. He'll do whatever it takes, but it has to be done the right way, not by begging for calls or flopping around. I mean, just a few short years ago, when Steph was still well past his prime at age 34, a good, young, up-and-coming NBA player asked to train with Steph and his trainer. But after just 5 minutes, this younger player had to sit down and catch a breather, then eventually went to throw up outside. This just goes to show how far someone can go in life when they fully commit to their craft and truly lock in. Steph Curry entered the NBA labeled as a liability because of his weak ankles. Scouts questioned whether his small frame could even survive in the league, let alone dominate it. A lot of people didn't think he would last, much less become one of the all-time greats. And yet, after dedicating himself completely to his craft, here we are. Even at 37 years old, teams are still so terrified of him that they feel like they have to cling to him for dear life. So I guess what I'm really saying is this: aim high. You never truly know how far you can go unless you fully dial in and lock in on whatever you set your mind to. I mean, Steph went from being written off for his weak ankles to literally forcing one of his childhood idols into retirement after just 12 minutes of game time. I'm serious. Steve Nash, a two-time MVP and one of Steph's heroes growing up, ended up retiring after only 12 minutes on the court against MVP-level Steph back in 2015. And if you're wondering exactly how that happened, don't worry, I've got the full story right here.